Hey, what's up guys, Ravenclaw here, and welcome back to the Ironman challenge. Now, I've heard word that Thug is over level 10 and he's progressing pretty fast, so we need to get out into the field and start pumping out these quests. Now, I have heard from you guys, and you guys would rather these in a video, and some of you even requested to be like sort of video diary style, so I thought I'd try something different with this one, where I just only show the highlights and sort of talk about what I'm doing and, you know, other bits and pieces as we go. So right now we are going just to get a bunch of the main quests out of the way, and the one thing that I'm finding with the hunter is having like with the rogue, it was really more just sort of stealthy and get the things done and get out. With the hunter, you have way more freedom to just kill anything we want without having to worry, which is awesome. One of the big things I'm finding at the moment is, like, obviously you get like 3 shots in and that's it, you're out of focus. So once we get up in the levels, it's going to be much more entertaining. The big thing is, part of the rules state that we can't use any talents. So when we get post haste, when we get disengage, that means no post haste. So that is going to be pretty annoying. But, you know, it's all part of the goodness that is the Ironman challenge, which I must say has brought back a lot of joy to the hunter. So I really encourage you guys to do the same. So once we've started clearing out a bunch of these crazy yetis, we hit level 6. Feeling pretty good, and I've got to say that the XP is pretty good for, you know, just plain gear, no bonuses. I'm not even in a guild yet. You can be part of a guild, so it's part of the rules, so you won't lose. But yeah, the XP is pretty damn good. Yeah. The one thing I'm not sure about is artifact weapons. So artifact weapons I've got to find out about. So once we went back to town, handed our quest in, we made it out to Shimmer Ridge, where we had to collect a bunch of stuff, and it's, as in true WoW style, it's collect a bunch of weeds and shoot a bunch of people, and then rinse and repeat. I'm really enjoying this sort of laid back style where I can just, you know, chill out, do some leveling, and I'm actually enjoying it. Because as we go up in the levels, we have to, you know, make sure that we don't die, and now this added aspect of, you know, Thug coming out of nowhere and taking me on and killing me, that added an even deeper flair to it. So once we finished up at Shimmer Ridge, it was time to head back to town and hand in this quest. Now this quest proved to be a bit difficult for me. So the reason why I found it difficult was I didn't really pay attention to the quest, which is true Ravenclaw style. And once I read it again, it did say that I had to go purchase some meat or some crazy thing that I had to use to put in a beer, which is also kind of crazy. So I don't know how these dwarves get down, but hey, who am I to argue? One thing I'm really paying close attention to is my gear when I get it. The one thing I don't want to do is accidentally put on a green piece of gear or any colored gear, because as soon as you do, you fail the challenge, and I'm really going to have to focus on it as we get up in the levels. So once I read the quest, I realized that if I make it back into the inn, I can go buy the mug, so that obviously we can drink the beer that's made with crazy meat and whatever. So that finished off that quest. That took me probably about 5 minutes to figure out, but you know, hey, whatever. So once that was done, it was time to head back out into the field. But before we moved on, I think this little bear has been with me long enough. It's time to name her. And I gave her a specific name. I would like to see who knows what the name Misha is and where it comes from. If you can let me know down in the comments, I'd really love to see who knows where this name Misha comes from. But yeah. So we'd collected all the bits and pieces, and it was time to move into the cave, kill a bunch of more yetis, and rescue some of the villagers that had wandered into the cave and for some reason couldn't find their way out of the single-laned cavern. But hey, it is what it is. Once we got in there, we hit level 7. So I saved the last lost villager, and luckily enough, I set my hearthstone to the town. So it was time to hearth back and collect up some more quests for our journey. So, once back in town, same old, time to send our quests in. And if you can see, like, I feel like that's a lot of XP for just non-heirloom geared, non-guild, non-rested XP. I don't know about you, but I feel like that's a lot of XP. I could be wrong. I mean, I haven't leveled in a while. Alright, so once we handed in, it's time to head back out into the battlefield and go kill a bunch of trolls, yogers, trolls, what do they look like? Yeah, they're trolls. So many trolls in this area. Alright, once that was done, I just went to go clear out a whole bunch of people, and it was time to move on. I thought I wanted to see how much XP I got per kill, and it's like almost half a bar, which is not bad. So I thought I'd just get as many as I can, and at this point in time, you'll notice that I now have control of my pet, which is awesome. Now I can send him in, or her, into battle first, and then I can come in after, which is going to be massive later in the endgame. Okay, once back in town, it was time to hand in those quests, and once we did, we then proceeded to level 8. So, I got disengaged now, which is going to come in handy, especially if we get one of those, like if there's a pack and we get a stray mob, it's going to be way helpful to keep myself out of trouble, especially now I can control my pet. Okay, once we handed that in, it was time to get over to this part of the continent, or country, or whatever we call it, and jump into the famous gnomish contraptions that we're all familiar with, which basically launch us up in the air and parachute down. Now, in my opinion, that is probably the coolest way to get over a mountain. Now, this area, I actually stopped for a while and I forgot to log out, which was crazy because I could have been killed at any moment. And imagine that. So, I collected the quests and it was time to move on. Now, all I had to really do was basically shrink some trolls, flare some silly village huts, and basically kill everything in sight until we made it back to town. Okay, so once we made it back to camp, handed in those quests, and as we can see, another hunter is on his way over to do the exact same thing. We're getting to the point now where the quest rewards are starting to become green, so this is where I'm really going to have to pay attention, and oh, if I screw up now, I'm going to be so mad. Okay, after getting our things together, we made it over to the farm where all the rams seem to be kept. I cruised around, but all of a sudden, the camp came under attack, and it was up to me, clearly the most awesome hunter in the whole land, to show these things who's boss. In true hunter style, it's basically point and shoot while everything else actually does all the work. Lol. Okay, once I saved the day in a most heroic fashion, handed the quest in, and it boosted us up to level 9. Nothing special, we didn't get anything from that, but what we did have to do is come over and return these rams back to town. Now, what would be the best way to send a ram back to town? I think the only way, in my honest opinion, is to just simply whistle at it. And not any whistle, a wolf whistle. Clearly that was the only way to do it. Once that was done, and all those rams were feeling aroused and sent back to town, I made my way back to camp to continue on our journey. Alright, once back in town, it was to hand in the quest, and then we had to go vanquish the Yeti on the hill, and get his brain or guts or whatever these crazy people require these days for quests. Bunch of weirdos. Okay, once I pulled his heart and brain out, it was time to head over to the miners area to help all the miners who seem to have dug a cave, knew everywhere to go, yet got trapped. You know how it is. So, between that camp and this town, I had a bit of trouble. The game lagged out heaps and wouldn't go back in, and it was crazy. So, once that was all done, I was happy. And you'll notice now that the quest items are becoming green. Now, these quests have been pretty straightforward. It's just basically, they're all scattered, which has been really good for me because I have no AoE yet, but I do have control of Misha, so that's fine. The problem being is if we start to get more than maybe 1 or 2, Misha won't be able to hold threat yet. Because it's only when we get to level 10 she gets all her tenacity skills so they can do AoE. From there, it was time to head into the mines and save all the trapped miners and pick up all the gems and other things that they needed back in town. Okay, after saving the day once more, it was time to head back and hand in all these quests. Now, this is a lot of XP coming our way, so one would only think that definitely will hit level 10. Sure enough, we clearly did, but as you can see, these are green gear, and I can only sell it, which is both good and bad, but hey, as long as I don't put one on, that's all that matters. Level 10, here we are. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this type of sort of video. Let me know what you think down below, and if you enjoyed, that's awesome. But until next time, keep on sniping, and I'll see you all in the next video.